Yeah.
Have you ever met him?
Yeah, Mike Massey.
Hi, Lowell. You know who he is? One of the world's best pool players in the world. This is Mike Massey.
He probably doesn't play pool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You ever met
Snooker,
Mike Massey?
8-ball.
Yeah.
You
I
ever
won
met
world
Mike Massey?
championships 3 times in snooker in England. On real snooker, the 6 for 12 tables on the.
I was raised in a Slavic Bohemian community, so the tables for snooker were there.
Oh, 6 for 12.
Yeah, legit sizes. So
Yeah, I've been all over the world. Steve Davis and all those snooker players.
Just look at him for a bit. And then
no,
look him up.
now I remember the face now. You got older.
Yeah, I won 8 of the ESPN trick shot events. You know, they had those 8.
Yeah.
And I've been in about 40 countries. That's all a bit of travel.
Damn, son, you've seen a few people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
good to meet you.
Music, I got a CD coming out.
Do you?
Yeah, and I was on here. We did a program here a couple of weeks ago. I was on here and I played the guitar and sang some, and they played some.
Do you talk your pool much anymore, or you stay with your music?
No, pool is. I was in China 2 months ago, and I'm doing a tournament, just a little tournament this weekend, and I did a show last night on the place, and I'm going to Las Vegas. I just got back from Vegas a few days ago, and I got to go back next week to Las Vegas.
So you live around here?
I don't live anywhere. All I do is travel. I do live somewhere too. Yeah.
Well, you know, boss, as long as you're happy,
Yeah, but
having a good time at it. Well, I'm about ready to go on the air here. So hang with me.
Yeah.
If you want, just stick around.
I was gonna say, just come on in here. We can talk.
Okay.
Close the door.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is a Friday in Colorado, and it's a sunshiny day. I'm loving it. Loving it. It's awesome to be in Chicago. I'm talking to somebody about Chicago, so excuse me for that. Colorado, Denver, Colorado, with KUHSdenver.com. You're with Lowell Whiteman. I'm your host for 360 Mindset and Performance Talk. We're going to talk a little bit about confidence, making the connection. We had a extra point this week, if you saw that, about confidence and making that connection. And I think for some people, you might not know that there are various levels of contact or confidence that you need to be in contact with. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, I'm going to give you some insights from the American Football Coaches Association, the May-June issue, 2017. And we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft from the ESPN magazine perspective. Talk a little bit about that and what is I see in here about confidence. So I'm going to start right off by looking at technology a little bit. You know, technology in the weight training era is growing because kids. Where's my international viewers out there, and as well as our Facebook Live folks, they use technology all the time. You know, we got our phones, disposable thumbs, making it work, and it's coming into the weight room. It's coming into the training agenda and the mindset that these kids have coming into the weight room. You know, it's boring. Free bar, weights on it. That's boring. Yeah, I can't do anything with that. I can't see pictures. I can't send a message. But at the same time, the proof is in the pudding about strength and conditioning, being in the moment, being in that now position, and understanding that when you get stronger, you get better. So it's hard to have strength and conditioning coaches try to overcome that mindset coming in. That level of confidence the kids are connected with is with their technology. So here's what Paul Markgraf from the AFCA, the American Football Coaches Association, is saying in his May-June article in Coaches Magazine. The the then and the now, the old school versus the current school. And here's a couple of quotes he has about technology, admitting that it engages kids. So then the question is, how do I get them involved in the weight room by using technology? Well, they're using lots of different tools. They're using numbers and documenting performance, getting the kids involved in documenting their own numbers and being engaged with that. Kids from all over the world are doing this and finding results. Just like our viewers and listeners here at 360 Mindset and KUHSdenver.com. We've got our international viewers from the Netherlands, Australia today, Sao Paulo, Brazil is on the list for today, Rio de Janeiro, Kuopio, Finland, and I don't know if I pronounced that right, but we've got a lot of good international viewers out there. So keep listening. Text me as well at, or tweet me at Coach LKW, at Coach LKW on Twitter. Send me some questions or give me your comments. I'd love to hear about it, especially about using technology and staying engaged, because here's the connection. In the weight room is the first place where confidence is built and where kids start feeling good about themselves, and there are requirements that are necessary in that environment to not only get the technology bug hooked in the weight room, but also for the kids to understand that they are capable of doing great things if they put the time and effort into their strength and conditioning program. Now, today we're going to talk about a couple different players across the NFL, as well as women's basketball in the WNBA, professional basketball, as well as those college NBA recruits that are out there. And we're going to talk about the different kinds of confidence. There's two different kinds of confidence that we want to focus on as human beings. So one is that comes with us naturally, organically, at the cellular level. And that's called shaky confidence. It's that shaky confidence because there are factors that will influence our being able to deliver confidently our performance at the highest level. Things like fear, things like, I'm not sure I can do that. Maybe because you've had practice, but you didn't quite understand what was going on in that practice or the process. So I'm going to also talk about the process of getting things done. We're going to talk about passion, your energy, your attitude, and how you practice with that passion to inform yourself about the process. And I'm going to reference an article here. The Penn State Nittany Lions Big Ten team head coach James Franklin. They were very successful this last season. I think they were Big Ten champs. And the Rose Bowl. They went to the Rose Bowl. And within that, they talked to him about control and winning, and he came right back to process. He said, control what you can. Make sure that you are in control of what you can control and rely on the process. Develop your confidence through process. So when you have shaky confidence, the thing that holds back your delivery of results is fear, and fear of understanding what the next place is in your process. So for example, when we talk about weightlifting, if you're on a bench press and the strength and conditioning coach says, hey, I want you to rep out your max. And maybe it's a new max, hadn't done it before. Now you have a process of lifting the weight off the bench press, but now it's a new weight. It's a higher weight. What do you do in that situation to have confidence in your process enough to succeed at lifting that new max weight? Now, whether that max weight is literally weight on a bar in the weight room, or it's a max weight of an opponent facing you on the field. As far as Coach Franklin is concerned with the Nittany Lions, they just control what you can control. So if it's a new weight, you go as far as you can. Work the process. Be involved with understanding and the feeling you have about what's going on in your body, so that you can judge when's enough. There's nothing wrong with failure. And in the shaky confidence area, so we have shaky confidence as our first level of understanding about confidence. That shaky confidence relies on you to understand and be aware of, be in the moment, stay in the now, and understand how far can I go? Now on the bench press, you may not make it to the top of the lift, but you got as far as you can. You felt how your arms felt. You felt when that quiver and that shake started to come in. Now you know more about yourself to apply yourself in the weight room in a way that's going to get you that strength necessary to attack that new max weight on the bench press again and succeed. The process is no guarantee that you're going to succeed every time you attempt a new obstacle, attempt to accomplish a new feat. Now, with that being said, I want to talk to you a little bit about the next level of confidence. So if shaky confidence is rooted in you're concerned about your fear of failure, you're concerned about the emotions you have during the process of trying to do something, so your confidence gets shaken a little bit. Your resiliency isn't as quick to respond to get after it again. So what do I do? Stable confidence is the next level. Well, it's about process. And we talked about Coach Franklin at Penn State. He talks about process, staying in the moment, staying in the now. Well, there's also at the high school level. So see, these things we're talking about are not just for the pros. They're not for the elite athlete at the highest level. They are for athletes at any level, for people at any level trying to achieve their highest performance possible. Now, we're going to share some more about individual players here in just a minute, but I want to talk to you about St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Florida and Coach Roger Harriet. Coach Harriet is featured in, again, the May-June issue of 27 AFCA magazine, and he talks about a program that has a lot of obstacles. It's not the biggest program. It's not the most well-financed program, but in his program, he talks about things that every human being wants to know about: being safe, feeling comfortable, feeling supported. Now, that's the environmental thing. That brings that shaky confidence out of its shell because it's attacking fears that young people, high school freshmen, have coming into a program, thinking, will I do okay? Will I be able to compete with the upperclassmen? So he's saying to his players, not only process, but let's take a look at who we are, and let's really understand what we can do in reaching each other. Let's because we have these other obstacles that have nothing to do with football, has to do with where we come as from a family we come from, the neighborhood we come from, where the school is located, the resources we have available. Now, guys, you don't have control of that, but if we work together and support each other by deeper understanding of who each other is, we can reach higher heights. We can take our shaky confidence and create a foundation around it that stabilizes it. As I said, the stabilization comes from not removing the fear, but acknowledging that fear exists and attacking what you can control. And these players with Coach Harriet at the school at St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida, they are doing that, and they've become champions because of it. And they've also realized that processes that Coach Harriet have given them to stabilize their confidence and give them a process that they're passionate about and that they can practice every single day is trickling down into the younger kids. So before the kids even come to the high school program, they're already aware of what they need to know for the program at St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Florida. So there's some examples. If you've got some questions, please give me a tweet at Coach LKW on Twitter, or check our website out at 360mindset.com. And for sure, tune in and listen to us and watch us here at KUHSdenver.com every Friday at 11 a.m. Now, as I am, let's see here. I'm trying to get some other stuff up on the screen for you all to take a look at. Well, I'll work on this a little bit on my own here, see if I can get it up on the screen for you. Well, we'll take a look at that in just a second. But anyway, I digress. Technology, trying to get that squared away. So we're going to talk a little bit about players coming into the NFL. The first one in our mindset session, mindset about a player who's a local Coloradan. He played out in California at Stanford University. His name is Christian McCaffrey. And Christian, it's interesting. We're talking about confidence and making a connection with your confidence. And there are things about the environment that you're in that influence your ability to move out of the shaky confidence area, that area where fear is present and your emotional control may not be as strong as you want it to be. And you want to bring people and things around you that help bring it up to a stable confidence level that you can practice what that feels like on a daily basis. Well, there are some things that you don't have control of. And I'm looking at the descriptions of what scouts and football experts, I guess, coaches in that genre. There's administrators, coaches, scouts that are looking at these players as they are being considered for growth. He's playing for the Carolina Panthers. He is a running back. But here's what the NFL scouts said on the NFLPA website during the drafting session. They said, bottom line, Christian McCaffrey, multi-dimensional runner with flex appeal. I'm not sure what that means. Flex appeal for teams looking for a player who could carry the ball 20 times or catch it 10, depending on the game plan. McCaffrey's size, power, and speed are just average, but he is able to create yardage for himself with his vision and elusiveness. McCaffrey's ability to return punts and kicks could be the values sweetener that pushes his name into the first round. Now, I'm not going to reread that, but I'm going to ask you to consider what I just said as it relates to the environment that he's in. Does it say anything about how Christian McCaffrey relates to his teammates, relates to the culture that surrounds football in his college career? Does it say that Christian McCaffrey has a knack for not only building relationships with his teammates, but building relationships with his coaches so that they understand how hard he works to not only maintain what he has, that foundation, from we talk about shaky confidence, move to stable confidence. He's a player that has those characteristics. I'm almost certain that whoever wrote this about Christian McCaffrey has an idea that Christian McCaffrey they know about him, but they don't say it. I'm very interested to know why they don't say those things. It really surprises me why they don't share those things with the viewers or the listeners, because it really means something. It means fans pay attention. Here, I'll give you some clues, because I've watched Christian McCaffrey. I've watched players like him that are currently in the pros. Watch the way he behaves on the field when he gets out there and how he comes into a huddle, how he turns his head, so you can see that he's trying to communicate, make connections with his teammates, in particular, those wonderfully large gentlemen that make a hole for him. So that when we look at the statement that's made by scouts, it says create yardage for himself with his vision and elusiveness. Why don't we add to that, create opportunity for himself by the way he communicates and motivates his teammates, his lineman friends, and the kinds of things that he did with those teammates. And I have to also ask you to watch the way this kid runs. Elusiveness doesn't come anywhere near describing what Christian McCaffrey does. His timing on when he makes a cut and plants his foot to hit a hole is unbelievable. He has something to teach seasoned running backs. So as I say that, we're coming to our first break, if you will, but in that break, we're going to talk a little bit about how to get in touch with me, how to get a consultation so I can talk to you about your confidence and help you move from your shaky confidence. And it's not a bad thing. That's part of shaky confidence, is part of who we are and how we deal with the world, and bringing that to a place where you're stabilizing yourself by understanding the environment and those people and things that influence you. Well, here's some words from somebody who's been on our show before, and that's Colin Cole, NFL alumni who played for the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers, and a fellow Iowa alumnus as well. Here's what Colin has to say about how he got into becoming confident from the shaky place that we're all at to being a foundationally confident and stable, confident individual.
My name is Colin Cole. I'm a graduate of the
For me, in my football career, I developed the same routine day in and day out. Whether it was a practice day or whether it was game day Sunday, I had similar routines. On practice days, I would go out to the field 20 minutes early just so I could hit the sleds. This routine helped me to stay focused and consistent throughout the long NFL season and throughout my career. Game days were much the same. I would show up to the stadium 2 hours early just so I can go through my routines of getting in the hot tub, getting stretched, going out on the field, and going through my running motions. Once I was ready at that point, I went through the routine of putting on my pads, getting my helmet ready. These routines will always get me focused for the game ahead. Develop proper routines, and you'll find whatever it is that you're trying to get to.
Well, that was Colin Cole. He's one of our routine guests, and that was a 90-second in session. 90-second in sessions are where we ask a guest or an expert to comment about a particular question that I asked them. In this case, it was about confidence. And Colin, as he said, his routines were important to him in trying to establish that build from shaky confidence to stability. Routines are hugely important. I would add to that setting goals. And as the song is saying in the background, you got to breathe. You got to focus on you and that swagger that makes you. And I know Colin well enough to know that when he was in a routine, he built his swagger. He built it to a level where he was able to execute at the highest level for his position as a defensive player. So as the song plays out and we're breathing together, breathing in, breathing out, staying focused, I want to share with you that if you go to 360mindset.com and look at our consultation sessions, sign up for a 1-hour session and let's have a conversation with each other about how you can move yourself from that shaky confidence position to the foundational stable position of being confident. And there's no problem with that. It's not a negative or positive. It's a reality for all of us. And a big part of getting yourself to that place is a difference between being an elite performer and just that everyday performer that isn't quite making the play. In almost every sport I talk about, in particular football and basketball, coaches, fans, teammates are looking for their fellow players to make a play at a key time. To do that, you've got to have stable confidence. You've got to be in control of your environment. You got to know yourself well enough to be involved with building that foundation. So reach out at Coach LKW on Twitter if you have a question or comment, or 360mindset.com for signing up for a consultation. I hope you can do that. Back in just a second with our next segment. We're going to talk a little bit about, confidence is not gender neutral. It involves all genders. Back in just a second. Well, that second was quick enough. I just took a brief breath, as the song says, and got myself back on track. Now we're going to talk a little bit about this lady. Like I said, confidence is not gender neutral. I hope we're doing her justice here. And Henry, I'm going to hold this up real slow so that you can see it. This is a picture of. This is a lady I'd like to work for. This is Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss is the key person in charge of the LA Lakers. The Buss family and the foundation has been, I don't know from the beginning, but has been a longtime owner and operator of the Los Angeles Lakers. And this article is about Jeannie and somewhat about her struggles, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the confidence that this woman has to move forward with the decisions that she's had to make requires a stable, reinforced level of confidence. She has got to have an environment around her that really supports her renewing herself on a daily basis to that stable confidence. Now, that being said, I'm also using Jeannie as an example of how precarious it is to stay in that stable place, and yet it's organic. It's who you are from the beginning. That shaky confidence is part of you every single day, and you've got to create strategies and methods to stay on it and wake up every morning, as I say, with a positive thought. Your first step, your first thought's a positive thought. Positivity is a big part of it. I can only imagine that with the things that Jeannie's gone through, she's got people and things around her that are helping her with positivity. In the past, Jeannie has had great people around her like Phil Jackson and the organization that has derived so many outstanding NBA players. Now, I would hope that some of that daily routine of contact with those kinds of folks helps her from the people side of maintaining a stable, confident base. But it's that managing the unknown, the things we don't control. As I said with some of the coaches earlier that are like Penn State's coach or the St. Thomas Aquinas coach, talking about staying in the now, staying in the moment. There's going to be some fears that are going to crop up and sneak into your life, and you want to make sure you're able to control those as best as possible. Well, here's one of the ways to control that. And we had a little song just a minute ago, breathe. Breathing is key. Get you focused. That's the skill, because we're in our skills segment right now about what skills can I use to get to that connection of my confidence at the stable level, knowing that I come from a place that initially is shaky. Now, there's degrees of shakiness. I'm not talking about your writhing, in your chair, your catatonic. I'm not talking about extremes. I'm talking about that your confidence is always going to be tested, and you need to have skill sets involved to be able to rise to the next level and stabilize that confidence. So with that being said, let me give you some examples. We talked a minute about Christian McCaffrey. So let's talk about some skills of some folks that are out there that were recently either being considered for the draft or they're already drafted. Like, for example, the NBA draft is coming. One of the guys that struck me during the Final Four, NCAA Final Four, was Malik Monk, number 5 for Kentucky. Now, here's what scouts are saying about Malik. Lots of great adjectives, lots of emotion when people talk about Malik because he's a guard. They go, "Who, man, can the freshman guard shoot?" And he's got Klay Thompson-esque range. Okay, he's a freshman. He's a freshman in college. Now, I'm a coach, an ex-coach athletically. I'm a basketball player. I love basketball. And at Kentucky, the kids are on a 1-year scholarship year to year. So they can get released. They can leave and go on to the pros. Now, I don't know Malik's situation individually at home, community, all the pressures that come with reinforcing that shakiness of your confidence. But when a player hears comments like that, what does that do to his movement from shaky confidence to stable confidence? And is that real? Is that going to last? Does it have high resolve, that confidence? So here's what they continue to say about Malik's performance during the NCAA tournaments. Monk was brilliant against UCLA with 4 3-pointers en route to 21 total points in his game-tying tying shot against North Carolina in the Elite Eight loss shouldn't be forgotten because the Tar Heels, Luke Maya, drained the game winner at the other end seconds later. Monk will be filling up stat sheets at an NBA arena near you very soon. So this particular report by an NBA scout is already saying that they've made the decision for Malik. They've made the decision. He's going on to the pros. Now, he may or may not. That's up to him. But what do we do with that rhetoric? If you're a coach, an advisor, a family member, what do you do and say to Malik about these remarks so that he maintains a real, legit understanding of his where he's at from just a cellular organic level of shaky confidence and staying at a stable level, because this could shake you. This kind of feedback could bring you down. Here's another example. Baseball, Major League Baseball. They're recruiting a young man by the name of Hunter Green, high school senior. not freshman in college, high school senior. Different sport, different mindsets. Now, I'm going to start talking about Hunter a little bit, and then we're going to go into another little break and get ourselves set for our third segment. And that's our mental conditioning one. And this is a good setup for that, because mental conditioning is that place where you're preparing your mind. You're using tools, skills, and strategies to help yourself be strong, resolute. And I think Hunter Green is going to need to be resolute. He's going to need to have some assistance in being strong. He's 17 years old. But he is a physical specimen, as the scouts are saying. He's not only a pitcher, but he's also an infielder. So he's got 2 spots and a shortstop to boot, one of the more intriguing positions. I should point out, though, that in the scouting scenario for Major League Baseball, of the top 25 players being considered for the draft for the Major League Baseball, 16 of them are pitchers. 16. The other remaining 9 players are either a combination of outfielders and I think there was maybe one like a shortstop, an infielder. Where's the catchers? Where's the guys who catch the ball from those pitchers? Why aren't they being? And I'm getting a little bit on my soapbox here because I was a catcher. But that's my setup for Hunter Green, 17-year-old freshman, Notre Dame High School in California. Right-handed pitcher, shortstop, throws right, hits right. We're going to talk a little bit about Hunter's mental condition and what will that do? How can one impact that and maintain confidence, his stable confidence, so that he can make some decisions as a young man going on to hopefully college. He's slotted right now. He's got a commitment letter to UCLA, and we'll see what happens. We'll be right back. This is 360 Mindset Performance Talk on KUHSdenver.com. Glad to be here. It's a Friday, every Friday at 11. Yeah, international audience, check out the ESPN article if you can. There's some great stuff in there about the draft. All right, people, I'm into short breaks. That was enough. Shared a little bit of thought with my international audience while I took a look at things I'll share with everybody out there. We're going to talk a little bit about Hunter Green, high school senior from Notre Dame High School in California. But we're going to share that with people in Poland, Jakarta, Indonesia. Got some colleagues out there in Australia, as well as still looking at people in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Italy is checked in, and Morocco. Got some people from Morocco. So welcome to 360 Mindset Performance Talk on KUHSdenver.com. It's a great Friday morning, moving into the lunchtime hour. It's some great stuff. Got my Rockies shirt on, promoting the Rockies. They took on the Chicago Cubs. Now here's how fickle I am, or how I appear fickle to people. I am not a Cubs fan. I'm a baseball fan. And to be a baseball fan, you have to have an appreciation for good performance. And look at people. The World Series last year, that was awesome with what happened there. I'm studying their head coach because of the way he puts together his roster plan. I mean, the guy has this document that he creates, that coach creates, that has, there's more margin notes than there are actually data about the roster, who's playing where, and the opposing team. He's got some just amazing codes in there. When I get it fully digested, the breadth and depth of what the GM and coach for or the head coach for the Cubs does with his roster sheet, I'll share it with you because it has a lot to do with confidence, spreading great information to his players. And I'm wondering what would he do with Hunter Green? Hunter Green, what would he do with Hunter Green? 17-year-old. And here's what they say about it. Now, here's the words again. What are these words going to do to his mind? By the way, Hunter is the #1 recruit in the MLB, Major League Baseball. This spring already, he was the #1 draft talent in Major League Baseball. He's let's see, a lot of rhetoric that doesn't mean anything. He's both a talented hitter and infielder. He would be a first rounder as a position player as well as being as a pitcher. I mean, they talk about his fastball. He's got a triple threat double curveball. He regularly throws between 97 and 101. When he settles in, he's still in the 90s, high 90s. He's talking, they talk about 3 pitches, and his secondary pitch is just as powerful as his primary pitch. So then, how can it be secondary? Here's my point about this rhetoric. It starts to incense me a little bit because the rhetoric really doesn't mean anything. It's on a piece of paper. It's flat. It continues to support that shaky confidence or to erode the stability of confidence that a player might have. They read this, they go, I don't know if I can do that. They're saying that I'm stable. I can sit on 95 to 98 miles an hour for the rest, my pitching. I mean, I don't know if I can do that. Maybe I'll get tired. You see what I'm saying here? We have to be concerned and careful with what we say. And I don't know Hunter or his family, but I like to be around these kind of guys. I've been around these kind of players. I've talked to their families, and that's the key, is their environment around them. Because their environment has a lot to do with the degree of their shaky confidence. So if you imagine shaky confidence is a bucket, and as you fill the bucket up, it's more shaky confidence. Well, as we drain the bucket out, we're controlling our emotions, we're controlling the environment around us. We have a good solid network of people and things around us that help us to reduce the amount of shakiness we feel in that bucket. And as that shakiness bucket gets less and less, the stable bucket gets bigger and bigger. So it's a trade-off. The one that you don't have as much control over is the stable one. Because the shaky one, it is what it is. You're built with a certain degree of shakiness in your confidence. And a lot of that has to do with your family and your environment. So I'm wondering how much merit there is for Hunter to go on to UCLA, go to college. I know that there are players who get drafted and still go to college. The MLB team that they get drafted by isn't too thrilled about that, but that's a choice. And I think those things need to be on the table for all those players. So we're coming out of our skills segment, and we're going into our mental conditioning segment, where we talk about basically get your mind right and your game tight. Make sure that you're stable in your confidence and your processes, and you're controlling your emotions. You want to make sure that you're clearly understanding what are those cues that I need to hit to make sure that I get the feeling and the affirmation of being stable, being highly stable and confident. And I have to, I'm talking a little bit about, I'm using examples from drafts, the NFL draft and the combine. Now we got Major League draft, the NBA scouts look. We're going to look at, as I said with Jeannie Buss, confidence is not gender neutral. It includes everybody. And yet, when women like Jeannie Buss step up and their stable confidence is kicking, I mean, they're going after it. They've got goals. They've set their priorities. They know exactly what's in the environment, and they're going after what they want. That tends to surprise some people. And it shouldn't. We're all human beings, and we're all capable of arriving at the same places of understanding of ourselves that anybody else is. And Jeannie Buss has for sure. So one of the other drafts I looked at from a mental conditioning standpoint was women's professional basketball, WNBA. And I focused on the Chicago Sky and what they were looking for. They selected four players in 2 in the first round, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third, from all over the country, actually. They got a young lady from South Carolina, Michigan State, Washington State, and Kentucky. And I'm going to guess, based on what I know about Chicago Sky, and because I've been in Chicago a few times, raised my kids there. The sports teams in Chicago are one of my favorites. One, if not all of those 4 players are going to be expected to try to compete for a starting position. And here's what they say about their number. Let me see here. Number 2 pick in the draft, Elena. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get this right here. Alana Coates. They picked a center from South Carolina. She's probably the one that they're going to look forward to trying to start. From what I remember, they were in need of some more strength in the middle on the post, and it's interesting as I read through this. There's less emphasis on the skill sets. How many points did they make? How many rebounds did they get? How sensational were they during the NCAA tournaments? They're more. Their conversation is more about strategy and environment and what they expect from these young women and the combination of their talents with the team. So this is the other side of the mental conditioning spectrum for me. You've got 2 different kinds of confidence. You want to move from that shaky confidence to the stable confidence. So as an organization, Chicago Sky and the WNBA, it seems to me, if I can just interpret this language here, they're trying to create an environment that supports process. So you've got to have that process in place, not just on the basketball court, not just on the football field or baseball diamond. It's got to be a process that's before you even get across the chalk lines or across the out of bounds line. You've got to have a process about bringing them into the culture. In the corporate worlds, there's things called assimilation, where you're trying to assimilate that talent, bring in this new person, help them go through meeting everybody. And I'm sure much of that goes on. But at the high performance levels, the things that don't get looked at from a mental conditioning perspective is giving them an idea of support services. For example, with football, recovery from practice and games is huge. And a lot of players, when they come in, they weren't expected to do that in high school. When they come into college, or in college, they may be in a college where, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm strong, I'm big, I don't need to go into that. And the coach just says, as long as you produce results, I'm not going to have high expectations. But at the same time, that physical pressure is a component of the environment that can erode the stability of your confidence. So there are lots of factors that go into it. And I think Chicago Sky is at least for me, showing me that they're doing things to build up and enhance elements of the environment to build confidence. So the point I want to make to you about environment, an environment will either enhance or diminish your ability to stay stable in your confidence. So one of the things is that I recommend to my players that I've coached over the years is go into the arena, walk it before game time. Sit on the bleachers in the basketball arena. Sit on the bleachers. Look at what's going on. Go before the game even starts, before you even break open your bag in the locker room for a football game or a baseball game. Walk the diamond. I know you know what a football field looks like or a baseball diamond. That's not my point. My point is that you deal with the emotions because you're excited about playing. You're there to play. So get comfortable with that arena. Get comfortable with that environment. See all the colors and the shapes. Even if you've been there before, I can assure you the players that have played for me or have known me through my performance coaching work with them, they know that this works no matter how many times you've been to that arena or that environment. Now, with that being said, extend it beyond that. Extend it to your hotel room on an away game. Extend it to your apartment or your house at home. Create an environment that helps you with what Colin Cole said earlier, routines. He had a routine. I'll bet you that Colin Cole, every place, every stadium he went to, he knew exactly where he needed to get the whirlpool. He knew exactly where to go to set up his locker or set up going to see the field and just make himself comfortable. I'll tell you a quick story about mental conditioning, about environment. Colorado State University, for its first time, I don't know if ever, but the first time at the time I was with them, they played Alabama at Alabama. Some of it was because Coach McElwain had coached at Alabama with Coach Saban, and the CSU Rams went down to see the Crimson Tide and play there. Well, that's an amazing facility. I mean, I was really complimentary of the whole support staff of that environment. It's an example of what you want for your teams, to be able to empower them to play at the highest level of confidence and be stable in their confidence, because you can eat off the floors. Locker rooms are just pristine. So we get out there and you walk into the stadium the first time, and this is warm up, but the stands are packed. And in every corner of the four corners of the arena are jumbotrons, playing picture after picture and scenario after scenario of the successes of the Crimson Tide. And music is playing and fans are clapping. It's like the game has already started. So this is an environment that we're not in control of walking out there. So I could see it on the faces of the players as we're continuing through the warm-ups. We get our pads on. We go through soft shell work and stuff, and then we get our full pads on. The guys are still doing it. So I brought on over one of our Bronco. He's now a Bronco, Shaq Barrett. I said, Shaq, you hear that? He goes, yeah. He's looking around. He's going, yeah, this is amazing. Yeah, so look at the jumbotrons, and the players' faces are coming on. And people cheer as the faces come on. And I said to Shaq, we got to make this our own. You've got to make this your own. He says, well, I'm good with it. I said, no, Shaq, you don't understand. You're a leader. You need to be, as it said in the magazine article I just showed you about St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Florida, the coach says, we got to make everybody feel part of this. We've got to have older guys help younger guys. So I said, Shaq, go out there and talk to your teammates. Make it your own. So as he walks away from me, he's raising his arms to the crowd, saying, hey, come on, bring it on, bring it on. Make it your own, even when you're playing the Crimson Tide in their own place. Make it your own, because he raised himself, Shaq Barrett raised himself up to even more stable confidence. And in that game, he played outstanding. He had, I think, either one or maybe even two sacks of the quarterback that's now playing for the Cincinnati Bengals from Alabama. But that's the part of the mental conditioning. And throughout all of this, here's the things I want to say to you. Breathe. See what you need to do. See the things you need to do, and then go do them. And then repeat it. See it, breathe, see it, do it, and repeat it, and improve. Be in the moment so enough that you understand through your breathing, you're focused, and you see what's going on. You absorb it so that your reaction time to resolve a mistake, or if you face some failure, it doesn't pull you back to shaky confidence. It means you stabilize it, you correct it, and you move on. And in fact, you might even go beyond where you were before because of your way of dealing with the challenge of fear. So that's mental conditioning. We're going to move on to our last segment of the day, performance results. And we're going to talk about some performance results around the country that I've noted that support our talk today on confidence and connecting with your confidence, making it work for you. It's amazing what power you can find by you just being centered on yourself in the moment and constantly looking at how the environment can help you stay stable in your level of confidence and excel at it. So one of those things I said in our mental conditioning piece was breathe. Got to breathe. Got to make sure you just stay with it and breathe.
Just like the boat out on the water.
Those are great words. You can always count on me because it set you free. Going from shaky confidence to stable confidence, whether it's a teammate like they recommended at St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida, or it's the Penn State Nittany Lions, and working to overcome a lot of the things that have happened to that organization and environment over the last 3 to 4 years. They have overcome that with a coach, Coach Franklin, focusing on each individual, each moment, staying in the moment, and working through a process and not dwelling on what brings us down, but dwelling on what we can do to control it and move forward. So we're in our last segment today on 360 Mindset, 360 Mindset, which you can find at 360mindset.com or on facebook.com/360mindset. And check out Extra Points every week as a precursor to every Friday's show on KUHSdenver.com. I'm so glad I'm here, so fortunate to be here. And interestingly enough, part of what I do and feeling fortunate is being an observer. I love being an observer. So in the ESPN magazine for, let's see, what issue is this? This is the April issue about the draft, and with the feature cover picture on Myles Garrett. And we'll talk a little bit about Myles in our performance segment here on performance results. But they got comments from people like coaches, executives, entourages, current pros, retired pros, agents, fans, the media, that they overheard by just kind of hanging out. Yeah, they heard some thoughts from people that they listened to. Well, here's some things. I circled some of them that just caught my attention. And these are some performance outcomes of people's behavior. One person said, "It's not luck. I did yoga. Might have been a player." He's going to be big, strong pusher. I have no idea what that means. That's just a comment that was heard in the moment. Here's another one. Not so positive. The NFLPA is the weakest union. The worst. All right. So somebody was feeling very strongly about that. This one's kind of funny. Again, you could take this any way you want. These are just off-the-cuff remarks heard by people just walking around. It said, little white guy, coach's son, runs good routes, football god. What does that mean? It sounds pretty funny, actually. Okay, as offensive linemen are streaming into the media room after they've done their thing on the field at the combine, here's what was heard. Make sure you get their good sides. What good sides? Now that's funny. Every offensive lineman, you can laugh too because you know that's true. That's true. That warrants a second read. Make sure you get their good sides. What good sides? That's good. All right, here's another one. We're for real. We make movies out here. So is it really the talent that you're assessing at the combine, or are you just making movies? All right, the last one that closes this particular part out on performance, with tongue-in-cheek as I say that, for our performance results segment. I'll see you, man. This is kind of getting old. I would agree with that. But thank you to ESPN Magazine, the April issue, which has Myles Garrett on the cover. And we're going to talk a little bit about Myles in just a few. If I can find my little tab. But as I look for my little tab, I'm going to finish up with Mr. Green, Hunter Green. Look at, I'm going to make sure I say this. This kid is a phenom. Hunter Green is the real deal. Now, that being said, he's 17 years old. And we're talking about confidence. He hasn't lived life long enough to understand what environment he's in and how will it influence him. He needs some more time to get an understanding of what that environment is and what it can do for him or not for him. Those are big questions. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, but then I got a guy like Myles Garrett, round one, pick one for the Browns, for the Cleveland Browns. Now that was Mel Kiper's prediction at that time. I actually don't recall if he did go 1-1. I don't think so. But that's what he was predicted to do. He's 6'4", 272 pounds. They call him a man-eater. And those are some very interesting remarks. What does that do to a young man? Where does that take him? Now, compare those statements about Myles Garrett and being a big guy with big stats. He succeeded at the college level. But as you heard Colin Cole talk about routines, and as you heard a few weeks ago, Joel Dreesen, NFL alumnus, say that you have no idea, I'm saying this to an NFL rookie or anybody going from college or high school level to the pros, you have no idea what you're facing. The emotional toll that the pro ranks is going to put you into. This is a real deal. This is a job. They're paying you money to produce results. And Myles Garrett, they're talking big about you. They're using big adjectives to describe your potential. You haven't even stepped on the NFL turf yet and taken a snap to be able to show that you can do it. So, well, what do? What's the performance results? What are the things that they're looking for? Well, as implied again by Colin Cole, Joel Dreesen, and others we've talked to at 360 Mindset Performance Talk, it's, can you control your emotions? Can you stay focused on what you need to do in the moment right now so that you can bring that passion during your practice through a process, the 3 Ps, to help you perform at the highest level with stable confidence? Let me say those 3 Ps again. Passion during practice with a process. Now, one of the things that you get done as a ball player in any sport is you get measured, poked, prodded, measured, evaluated, so that the people who are spending all this money have an assurance that when you hit the field, you're going to deliver the results they want to see so they can sell tickets, sell merchandise, sell more tickets, and sell more merchandise, and maintain endorsements so they can have advertisements on the walls or great food in the concessions for the fans. But ultimately, you've got to deliver the results. So there are certain measuring tools that have not been overly utilized, if at all, within any sports. And one of those I've designed myself. It's called an RMP16. It's a device that measures your human desires, not your desires as a football player or a baseball player or an owner of a NBA franchise. It's a measurement of your desires at the human level to understand who are you and what makes you motivated and have stable confidence to do the things you can do at your best. I designed the approach and delivery of this tool, RMP16, with a colleague of mine, and it works for the players that have used it. With me, it is definitely something that helps measure the outcomes and give you some real performance results about you as a person before you even start getting yourself into the weight room, the practice field, or the game situation. And why is it important? It gives you an idea of where do you need to build yourself up and improve yourself. And that helps you to control, when you have that understanding at a very numerical level, a measured level, you'll know when to breathe. You'll know when to remove people from you and go to your own space. Create the routines like Colin said. And have that passion during practice with a process that keeps you in the now, that's uniquely your own. Well, I think I was on my soapbox a little longer than I wanted to be there. But it's part of who I am and what we do here at 360 Mindset. We're building a program here at KUHSdenver.com that shares with you the player, the performer. You could be a mom as a performer, but what you do is elite and essential. Or you could be that pro athlete that we talked to. Here at KUHSdenver.com and 360 Mindset Performance Talk, we are giving you examples of the highest performers and the strategies that work for them. Visit us at 360mindset.com. Sign up for a consultation or ask me a question on my Twitter account at Coach LKW. Get the dialogue going. Share with us. Get your mind right, game tight, and be there. Within the last minute, I want to say thank you to all of our viewers and listeners out there all over the world. We've had some movement across the globe. We've added some people from Morocco and Poland. But I'm hanging with the Brazilians. Thank you so much, Brazil, and other places around the world. And especially thank you to my colleagues and support here at KUHSdenver.com. Henry, you're the man. Thank you so much for being there for me. And also to those clients and contacts I have out there that help me with these great stories and the support that I have from people like Colin Cole. Thank you so much. Going to be signing off here in just a minute. Have a great day today. Whatever you do, be safe and enjoy the weekend. But breathe. Thanks, International folks. Glad you were here. If you have anything to say, reach out to me on Twitter at Coach LKW or my website, 360mindset.com. Pleasure having you with me.
Really nice.
Thanks, bud.
Smooth. Get this.